Guys, it's Monday. I just realized that chair behind me makes my hair look really funky. So it is Monday. I want my weekend back and I want to read it. Just sucked. Y'all saw the video yesterday, I'm sure. If not, you go back and watch it. You can find out what kind of a cluster of the last 4 days I've had. Let's see. So, um, today I think I'm just going to start getting really personal because I've talked very around the edges about personal stuff, but I haven't gotten super personal. And I think there's a lot of people who might encounter my page who might be going through stuff and they might appreciate truth, honesty, real life situations that have affected me permanently. So I'm going to do a story time today. Not weight related, but honestly, per my counselor and my discussion, it is really weight related because it's affected me long term. So, growing up, I originally lived with my mom and my dad. My mom was 16, my dad was 18 when I was born. And my dad turned 19 just after I was born. And he joined the Navy to support his family, and my mom and I went with him. And when I was 3 or 4, depends on whose story you listen to, they broke up. At some point, the story, like I said, I don't know this full story. I have 2 different sides, and they are so polar opposite. I'm going to give you the gray area. I'm not going to give you either side of truth. So, basically, I ended up living with my grandparents. My mom says my grandparents drove me up there. My grandparents say my dad drove me up there. My dad says he drove me up there. Again, I don't know. Don't care. My grandparents got custody of me. Eventually, they got permanent custody of me. I saw my mom maybe twice the whole time that I was growing up. I saw my dad about the same. Except for sometimes we went down there, so I saw him more, but not very often. My mom, at some point, and I don't remember how old I was. I know the story, but I don't remember any of it really. My mom and my aunt parked outside of the bus stop where I usually walk out to go to school. And I had to walk down into my road and then walk down the street a little bit and go to my great aunt's driveway to wait for the bus. And apparently my cousin was there waiting for the bus already. She got there earlier because her parents go to work and I just drop her off because that was her grandmother's house. And somebody called my grandparents' house and was like, hey, there's 2 women in a car parked near our driveway. And you gotta understand, this is country. So a car on the side of the road with 2 people sitting in it is strange. Now, whether or not she recognized my mom or not, I don't know. I don't believe so from the story I was told. And so my grandmother kept me home from school. And an hour or 2 later, my mother shows up at the front door saying that she wants to bring me to a family reunion, blah, blah, blah. But I actually think I was actually sick, but I don't know. The story, I've heard both stories, that I was sick and I wasn't going to school anyway. The other story I've heard was I wasn't sick, but she kept me home because of the car down the driveway. So I don't know which story is true. I've heard both. And then, so my grandma said no, I couldn't go with her. And so, of course, as a child, all I wanted to do was go with my mom. And I was really upset. And then, I think the next time I saw my mother, she had one of my brothers with her. I don't know if it was one or 2 brothers. And then she gave me this doll that had pigtails that would flip up. It was really cute. And so that's all I saw of her growing up. Her dad used to come every once in a while to visit. And I think the last time he said he was going to come to visit, I was supposed to have a Christmas thing at church, a Christmas performance, Christmas pageant. So it was Christmas pageant at church, and I refused to go because my grandpa was coming to see me, and I was going to see him first before I went to the Christmas pageant. And I would not move from that. We had a big picture window in our house, and I just sat at the picture window waiting for him to come because he had called me, and he told me that He had come across, he asked me if I liked these dolls. They were really popular back at the time. They were called Glamour Gals. They were like these little plastic dolls. And I loved them. Like, they had real hair. They were kind of like a Barbie, but they were small. And I liked them way better than Barbie because I never really liked Barbies. I like to stick pins in their Barbie's ear to make her look like she had earrings or cut her hair or stuff like that. But I didn't really play with Barbies. But the Glamour Gals I just loved. Um, and he told me he found a whole bunch of them. He was going to bring them to me as a Christmas gift. And so I was waiting because I wanted to see him and I wanted those Glamour Gals. So I waited until I fell asleep at the window and he never came. And I never saw him again until I was an adult and had kids of my own. And so that was that. And then my dad, um, going based off of the story I heard from my grandparents, my dad drove me up there. He actually was supposed to be on the base and he wasn't. And he got in trouble for that. And so when he got out of the military, he moved to Florida just to kind of get his bearings and whatever. And I mean, there was really no way for him to be a single dad. Like, there was just, it just wouldn't have worked. I was really young. And he didn't have any family close to him. He didn't want to live in Connecticut and a whole lot of things. And so he lived in Florida. And we were going down to a family friend's wedding in Florida because their son lived in Florida. And that's where he was getting married. And I got to go see my dad. And I was so excited. And then he was married to somebody. So I was so excited because I thought we were going to, be a family. I thought, oh, I'm going to move to Florida. How great is this? And I asked my stepmother if I could call her mom. And she informed me, and I say this, God rest her soul, she has passed away from a car accident. So we did make amends later in life, but at this time in my life, this affected me. And I will never forget the words she told me, and she said, no, you cannot call me mom. And what you need to understand is you're a part of his past and I'm his present. So when your grandparents go home, you will go home with them. And I was mortified. Like, why would this person who's supposed to love my dad not want me to be with my dad? Like, I want to be with my dad. Like, I just wanted to be with a parent, not my grandparents. Not that they were horrible people, but, I just wanted to be with my dad. And that was the last time I saw them for a while. And then, I think it was like, I think it was 8th grade graduation my dad showed up for. And I think my grandfather might have called. Like, there was like a whole bunch of stuff that happened. And I literally, at 14, had a nervous breakdown. Like, no lie. Like, was on major medication, was seeing a psychiatrist like every week. I had a major breakdown. Basically, because the way I felt was like nobody wanted me. Like, I was so unwanted. And like, and there were times I felt that before. Like, one time I wrote a suicide note and took like 3 Tylenol. Because, I was only allowed to take 1 Tylenol. So if I took 3, that was really going to hurt me. So I wrote a, note saying, I'm taking 3 Tylenol and I'm just going to die. And I remember that. And I mean, I don't know. I was just really, but when I was like 13, 14, what I had was bad. What I had was a bad psychotic break. I was out of school for a week. I was on some major medications. I was seeing psychiatrists and all this other stuff. And there was stuff that came out in counseling that I was told wasn't true, that I was making it up, and I wasn't making anything that I set up. And I'm not going into that stuff because it's just not stuff I want to share on the internet. But once I realized that the counselors were going to listen to anyone else but me, if I said something happened and an adult said it wasn't true, it wasn't true. And I was supposed to learn to stop lying about stuff that was true. And after that, it just became a game of seeing how much I could mess with the counselors. I never really got help because I realized that I wasn't going to get help. When I told the truth, I was accused of being a liar. So why? Why do it? And that was kind of something that I heard a lot growing up was, that my mom was a liar and I was going to just like her and all this other stuff. And I understand. My grandparents were my father's parents. There was hard feelings. I get it. And I don't blame them for not knowing how to handle their own frustration at what had happened. Um, or what they felt happened. Again, I have two different stories, polar opposites to each other. I'm going to say the gray area. What they believed happened, which could be what someone else told them, what they believed had happened, they were angry over. And I think sometimes I look a lot like my mom. Not right now because I'm fat, but when I'm thin, I look a lot like my mom. Um, and I think that was hard for them. You know, when you're dark haired and your whole family is like light brown or blonde headed, and you know, I mean, I think that was a problem. I don't think they even realized it was a problem. I think it was something. I think, you know, my grandmother was dealing with anxiety issues. She had agoraphobia, and I definitely learned some of my agoraphobia from her. Because obviously sometimes you can learn, but I also verifiably have PTSD from things that have happened to me. And I'm working really hard at not being triggered. I've been doing really good. Um, I've been pushing past my anxiety most days. And I desperately want to continue progressing on that. But part of that is dealing with stuff that's happened. And, you know, growing up and feeling like I had no control over my life, like if I told a counselor stuff that happened to me, I was going to be called a liar. If I wanted to live with my dad, I was going to be told no. If I wanted to live with my mom, I was going to be told no. I never had a say in anything. Like, even like the way I dressed, if I wanted certain types of clothes, I was told no. And I never was a slutty person. Like, that's, well, not as a child or teenager or, you know, whatever. And I really wasn't, I shouldn't say it like that. That sounded horrible. Okay. If you could, okay. I wasn't actually a slutty person. I can count on one hand how many guys I've slept with, and there's fingers left. So, I mean, dress wise, like dressing clothes. Uh, but you know, I've never been someone really to like bodily attention. Like it's just not my thing. Um, and so I always dressed very conservatively. I really liked wearing skirts, but there was times I'd want to shop in a store that other friends were shopping in. I mean, I think I owned one pair of jeans ever, and I never got the cool jeans. Like I got stupid Gloria Vanderbilt jeans, I think is what I had. Ugly jeans. And, you know, all the other girls had these really cool jeans, and because they had like Z Cavaricis for girls back when I was younger and when I was a teenager. And all these different, like, really cool looking jeans, and I wanted them. Like, I wanted acid wash pants. I wanted these really cool jeans, and I wasn't allowed to have them. And so I always felt like I never got to figure out who I was growing up because when I wanted to try things, I had so many friends whose parents would be like, well, I don't really like this idea, but you can try it and make your own mistakes. And I never felt like I had that. I would probably say my grandmother, in her own mind, was protecting me, etc., which, yes, as parents should do. But sometimes part of protecting your child is letting them fall on their face hard. And I've learned that as a parent. Because trust me, I've learned that. But, you know, it's like I never got to define my personality. I never got to define who I was. My biggest dream when I was getting out of high school was I was going to go to college. I was going to major in French and business. And when I got done, I was going to apply to work for Big in Paris, and I was out of this country because I was done with everybody. And that's not how things worked out. I ended up sophomore year being raped, getting pregnant, and the rest is history. But I noticed that because I never was able to define who I was, that right now, as a 29-year-old woman, no, I'm 44. Yeah, I'm 44, but I'm still 29. Um, I don't know who I am because I never defined that. I never took the time to figure out what do I like, what don't I like. That's why I'm doing stupid stuff that people are like, really? Because I'm like, you know, I never got to do this, so I'm gonna do it now. Whatever. I'm probably one of those old ladies like dancing in the middle of the street for no reason whatsoever because I never got to do that. So why not now? You know? And that's kind of how I'm living my life right now. Is I want to find out, what do I like, what things make me smile. Like, I never collected things because everything goes away, everything disappears, nothing is forever. Like, that was the way I looked at life up until recently. Um, like, that's why I have Pokemon stuffed animals. That's why I have Pusheen stuffed animal. I think it's an adorable little cat. I love the cute little Pokemon toys. I love Star Wars. I like Doctor Who. I like uh Rocky Horror Picture Show. And so I've just started collecting things now. And I'm trying not to be a hoarder. I'm trying really hard not to be a hoarder. My husband is a hoarder though, so I don't have a drop in the bucket compared to him. And my stuff is all displayed and can be displayed. And when it gets too much to display, I get rid of stuff. I donate it. So anyhow, but I'm like, it just is what it is. I never got to define my personality. So that's one of the things I'm working on. I've been working on it for a long time, like 5 months. Is figure out, who am I? And I think in general, most parents go through that when their kids grow up and move out. You have some label issues because you're no longer technically mom, and like, you lose so many labels, but you still have the label, but it's kind of like a semi-label. But I think you add what normal people go through, and then you take me, who never figured out who she was. And it's something I need to fix. So I'm working on that. So if you've had a really screwed up childhood and you couldn't control anything, you want to control everything, just keep in mind, controlling everything's going to hurt people around you, just like it hurt you. So figure out who you are, define the important needs, and work from there. But definitely, if you had a messed up childhood, get a counselor. Cannot speak highly enough to how wonderful counselors are. And I keep this when I talk about stuff that stresses me out, so that I don't just bawl. I even bring this to counseling, by the way. It's my little counseling buddy. He's a squishy. But yeah, so find something that helps you de-stress. Find a way to have your voice be heard by yourself. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.